I have a simple question. What is worse? The tragic death of an Olympic athlete or the profiting off of that very death? As most people know, I've not made a video in quite a while with my commentary in it. But after these last few days of watching these YouTube partners profiting off of this tragic event, I had to say something about it. We all know that the news must be reported, and hopefully when something tragic happens like the death of Len Bias or Hank Gathers or even Princess Diana, that it'll be handled with some sense of dignity. For any of us that have used YouTube in the past few days knows that some of the partners on YouTube and YouTube themselves have sunk to an all-time low. Shortly after this man's death, one person in particular made a short video announcing his death. But the misleading title and thumbnail bother me, but not enough to say something about it. Then I see a second video from the very same person with the same type of misleading thumbnail and the same misleading title. But it's just a video made in defense of the first video. And then I see this very same person again makes a third video with the same type of misleading thumbnail with the same misleading title, showing what he's purchased with his revenue from YouTube. He shows his nice camera and his new Lincoln Navigator that he's paid for with his YouTube blood money. Now, I don't mind someone paying tribute to people or reporting the death of celebrities or athletes, especially the people that have inspired them in some way. What I do have a problem with is these people making short video after short video, trying their best to strike while the iron's hot, all the while not giving a damn about how they make their money and showing the least bit of respect for the dead. YouTube is just as much to blame for this as anyone. They constantly had those videos in their prime locations on the popular page for days, racking up millions of views. So now that they see how many views something like this will get, they'll keep cranking these short videos out with misleading thumbnails on YouTube, profiting from other people's death and misery. You can't be any more misleading than these people have been over the past few days. And all these videos had ads next to them, and I made sure to check for that. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that they only act like they give a damn, because as long as YouTube promotes these types of videos by plastering them on there for days on the top of the popular page, it pays to exploit the death and suffering of other people. We all know that people have a morbid sense of curiosity. We don't want to look, but sometimes we still do. We're curious to what went wrong. How could this have happened? I didn't want to see someone die, but I was curious how someone could possibly get killed during this event. I didn't search for the video. I didn't even know what happened until I stumbled across, like many others did, while looking at the other videos of the day. The way these partners have come out of the woodwork to exploit this person's death, and some with multiple videos, all with very misleading titles and thumbnails, and clearly using every disgusting trick in the book to gain views. And they do this under the guise that they're a reporter. Well, let's take a good close look at that one for a minute. They claim to be a reporter. According to the definition of a reporter, you'll see the following: an account presented usually in detail, or as a verb to report, to write or provide an account or summation of, for publication or broadcast. So let's look real close at that first video you made entitled "Luge Accident Kills Olympic Star." Let's look at the account or summation of your reporting of this tragedy and the details you presented in that video. You state the following: the Olympics are going on in Vancouver right now. A 20-year-old from the Georgia Republic has died. He was going 90 miles per hour and lost control and crashed and killed himself. Then you plug your website where you say you will host this video. Then you say it was sad. He was a young man and a professional, an Olympian. Most people have been complaining how fast this track was, and it's the fastest they've ever been on. And then again, you say it was sad. This is what you call reporting. You didn't even say the man's name. Now let's take a good hard look at this since you fancy yourself as a reporter. Did you mention how long he'd been doing this? How long he'd been in preparation for the Olympics? Did you mention that his father, David Kamirtashvili, was also a former luger himself? And that his dad said that his son had voiced concerns about the track before the accident? In fact, he called his dad before the Olympics days earlier and he said, "Dad, I'm scared of one of the turns." He also told his father, "I will either win or die." But his father says that was just youthful bravado. He couldn't possibly be talking about death. Did you mention any real details at all about this man and his family? Who was he survived by? No. You just hopped in front of your camera as fast as you could and just winged it. Now let's take a look at the second video titled "Crash," Luge accident kills Olympic star. You say that you put a link in the effing description. You say you are not trying to be funny, and this is how you roll. So don't be pissed off because you can't show the video because it would be taken down. You put it in a separate effing website. Then you say that it is dangerous and you are not doing it to be funny. Maybe you can tell me how exactly this is reporting on the subject. Did you discuss any new facts or information on his death, or did you go into any further detail of the arrangements of how the Georgians were going to possibly leave the Olympics but decided to stay and compete in honor of their fallen friend and Olympian? No. All you did was ramble on and defend how you roll. The third video was nothing but more of the same as the second one, saying how you're a reporter and this is how you make your money. You show your high-priced camera and your new Lincoln Navigator. So maybe you can tell me why that third video did not have a different title than Luge Accident Kills Olympic Star Again. This video, again, was not reporting on the events that killed the Olympian. This was nothing but justifying your earlier videos. Yet you still felt the need to use a luge thumbnail and your catchy headline of his death in the video that almost had nothing to do with the man that just died, but it had everything to do with you. This man is dead, and all you do over and over again is talk about how you're a reporter and this is how you roll. Maybe now parents can tell their kids that if they work hard enough and try to make something of themselves, some self-centered YouTube reporter can make a 50-second video about their untimely death so you can buy a new camcorder or Lincoln Navigator. How touching. The one thing I think we should ponder for a second is when the next time you read a headline of some major celebrity dying or someone famous dying or some mass murder, when you're running to that camera to press record to try and beat the other, quote, reporters to the punch and get that video that'll go viral that will catch on YouTube's popular page, what are you thinking of? Right as you're pressing that record button, getting ready to spew out 30 to 50 seconds or a minute and a half about someone's untimely death or some mass murder, you thinking about the families of those people? You thinking about the brothers, the sisters, the sons and daughters, the mothers and fathers of those people? Or are you thinking about that new camera or that new Navigator? Some may say, give this person the benefit of the doubt. Well, I have. Let's look at some of the other, quote, reporting this person's done here. Here's a fake picture of Brock Lesnar when he was sick in the hospital. Here's another one when Michael Jackson died, and the worst one was the rumor of Kanye West's false death report, where he even put in the thumbnail the date of his birth and death with the quote, "Rest in peace to my dog, my homie." This is flat out disgusting, and YouTube and these partners of theirs have crossed the line. YouTube is just as guilty as these people for making a mockery of reporting and working together to gain millions of views in the sleaziest manner to date. Now, I've heard the rebuttal from one of these users in question saying that which is worse, him or the mass media? Neither. A disgusting practice of exploiting death and misery is the same thing, so it doesn't really matter which one is worse than the other. Being exploited is still being exploited. So to act like one is better or worse than the other is completely irrelevant. It's like asking someone, what would you rather be, shot to death or stabbed to death? Well, I think in the end it's pretty much the same thing. Also, this person is completely wrong for acting like we're all sick for clicking on the video. That's not the case. I know the mouse over trick. I know he had no real footage. There's only 3 frames in 52 seconds. There's no way they can all be the silhouette of this person and have any footage in that video. I clicked to see how he'd handle the news, see how he would, quote, report it. The fact is, he sensationalized this just like any cheap tabloid would, the lowest common denominator. So if that's what he wants to be, then call it like it is. You're not reporting for money. You're exploiting for money. There's a difference. I was just as disgusted when NBC released the footage and photos of Virginia Tech shooter. They were way out of line for doing that. Why? Because that's what the shooter wanted. That's why. So now any nutbag feels they can just mail off a press packet to their favorite scummy network, then load up their guns and go kill a bunch of people, and then they can be a murder celebrity. Many people were just clicking through the sections of YouTube and saw the story and were curious as to what went wrong. Many times a story of a tragic death can be discussed without even seeing the actual fatality on the screen. If they would have just shown the wipeout up until the moment he hit the post, I think we all would have been fine with that too. If this person had just made one video, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. It's the other two videos I had a problem with very misleading thumbnails and titles, not to mention the other channel that he may or may not have with these two other videos on this same subject. You can try to save face all you like, you can make whatever excuses you like, but the second and third video on this subject with those titles, with those thumbnails, and those headlines were flat out misleading, and nothing you say will change that. The second and third videos should be called something else, not Luge Accident Kills Olympian. That is where your whole reporter status ends. You were not reporting anything in those two videos, yet you were using the same sleazy if it bleeds it leads marketing ploys with your videos that really had nothing to do with the story, but more about you defending your original reporting of the story. It's not that hard to understand. Everyone knows I've had my issues with YouTube in the past, but even I didn't think they'd stoop this low promoting these videos like this. Oh, and one last thing. His name was Nodar Kumirtashvili.